If the latest Evangelista contract negotiation rumors are true, Barry Trotz made a real statement with his opening offer. We'll tell you the numbers and where the parties try to go from here on today's Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off our Friday with a heartfelt shout out to our Locked On Predators insiders and to our everydayers who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio, and friends, I have a Thelma to my Hockey Louise.
That you do. I am Emma Lingan, and I'm an NHL reporter and host for the Hockey News.
Well, Emma, stop me if you've heard this before, but as of the time of this recording, Luke Evangelista still does not have a contract with the Nashville Predators, and the saga continues because word dropped yesterday on what the Nashville Predators opening offer was. We're going to talk about that on today's show. We're going to share the latest speculation about that early contract offer, why this individual contract situation may be a symptom of a bigger statement about the Nashville Predators. We're also going to share the latest training camp news from Thursday and look ahead to this weekend's preseason game. Also, look forward Friday. We're going to tell you what Emma and I are looking forward to this weekend. Before we dive into all of that, we do, of course, want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, Emma, I know we have to talk hockey, but I just want to give you a public thank you because Emma, of course, is my baseball person because I am not. And so she has updated me on who I should and should not be and will look smart for rooting for in the postseason. And I have to tell you, loving postseason baseball. And I'm not normally a baseball person, but we've had it on. It's been really fun.
It is. These wild card series have been fun, with the exception of the Dodgers and the Reds, which everyone knew that was going to be over pretty quickly, and it was. But I mean, you got Yankees, Red Sox went to 3 games, Tigers, Guardians went to 3 games. I mean, it's a fun postseason. So while you're waiting for hockey, meaningful hockey to start, go turn on some meaningful baseball.
Yeah, it's been real. I feel very, very much better informed. So she is also your insider for all things baseball, friends. So if you have a question, join our insiders community and Emma can talk baseball with you too. I'll just talk about the food I like at the baseball games.
Got to find you a grilled cheese at a baseball game.
We do. Yeah. Like what's the comparable sport to sport? What's the comparable? Yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll work on that. Of course, we do have to talk hockey. And friends, we are still learning more about the Luke Evangelista saga. Now, we're not learning that there's any sort of deal done. No, friends, can't have that. Can't have nice things. But on Thursday, word broke. Frank Saravelli was a guest on the Kevin Karras show. It aired on Thursday. I went back and listened to the episode because in this episode, Hockey Rumor Report tweeted out that Frank Saravelli said that the first offer that came from the Predators to Luke Evangelista was 2 years, $1 million per year. Emma, just before we dive into the details, when you hear the initial offer, 2 years at $1 million, what's your initial reaction to that?
Well, in fairness, if you're going fully by the book, that is the required qualifying offer that the Predators have to give him I think it's based on what his most recent salary was. They need to offer him, I want to say it's like 105%, which would be up to 1 million. So it's like that's what they have to offer him. but it's like the bare minimum. Like, again, I think it's I don't know, for a player who has had, 30-point seasons for you, like, it seems a little insulting
It
to start there, even though
just
that is like the by the book, as the the law says you have to offer him that. It's like, okay, but you don't have to start there. Like,
yeah. Yeah. And of course, in negotiations, you start low, but you don't start insulting. Like there's a gap between like we're going to start low because we know there's going to be movement both ways. That number feels a little bit insulting. If I were Luke Evangelista, I went back in and listened to this conversation that Sarah Valley had. And so I want to read to you his comments because I thought this very interesting thoughts. This is what Sarah Valley had to say on the podcast. Contracts are in some ways formulaic when it comes to certain players on the roster. And I always use a very simple, and this is in the previous NHL cap, think like pandemic and before, but a smart GM had mentioned to me, and it's very simple to equate. 10 points equals $1 million, 20 points equals 2 million, and you go from there. Evangelista has 32 and 39 point seasons under his belt. Is this really that hard to do? Can we just call it a day at 2 years times 3 million? My understanding is the first offer that came from the Preds was 2 years times 1 million. That's no way to have a negotiation, to have a constructive way to get players under contract. We're now 15 days into camp on a team that only has 3 players under the age of 25. You're having a player miss an all important camp to get ready to roll because you have unrealistic numbers and projections that aren't in line with reality. He finished by saying, I just don't think it's any way to do business. I thought that was very insightful. And of course, I love the kind of the framework. Here's the formula, 10 points, 1 million, 20 points, 2 million. Of course, that's not how it always goes, but that gives you a framework. And there's more nuance to it for a player. What role is this player going to play? How old is this player? What direction is the franchise going? What are the needs in the organization? But it feels like if that's your opening offer, even if that's like generally, what you have to offer him, Emma, it just does not feel like a good faith. It's really important to us and we love Luke and we want to get this done starting point to me.
well, I think too, if you're going by that formula, like, again, it's not set in stone, but generally speaking, that would put the offer around $3 million, give or
Mhm.
take, for a season. And that's not unreasonable, I don't think. I mean, I think most of us assumed that that's what it would be. Like you said, you start low, but you don't start insulting. I would think starting low would be like you offer him 2 million and you see where
Right.
you go from there.
Right.
Um, but I think why is it this hard to get 2 years, 3 million? Or at
Mhm.
this point, even 1 year, 3 million. I mean, good Lord. Like, I just don't, to me, I keep coming back to, it feels like Barry Trotz is trying harder to prove that the guys that he signed last offseason weren't a flop. Like, it
Mhm.
seems like proving that is more important than getting this potential future piece locked up. And again, I understand it wasn't going to be a long-term deal. I don't think even before all of this came out, I don't think anyone expected it to be a long-term deal. I don't think that would be smart for the player or the team, frankly. So I expected 2, maybe 3 years. And it's like none of this seems unreasonable. So like if it's 2 years and 3 million, what is taking so long? It just seems like, I mean, I would think that Luke as a player deserves $3 million. I think that
Right.
that's totally fair. And if the Predators aren't offering him even that, then good Lord. I mean, if you think that the Predators are, If you think that the Predators and that Barry Trotz are in the right in this situation and that they should be lowballing him and that they should be holding out in this standoff, I'm sorry, you were drinking the Kool-Aid way too much, because I think that this is everyone else around the league is looking at this like, what are they doing? It's not like, it shouldn't be this difficult. Like, why are you
No.
digging your heels in on this? Why is this the hill that you've chosen to die on? It makes very little sense, and it doesn't reflect well on the organization.
No. The only way that I can even try to get this to compute from the Predator standpoint is if they came in with this offer, which again, I kind of feel like we're like, really, we're going to do that. If that was going to be your first offer, you probably should have put that out there in like 2023 and negotiate, like, so you had time to get to the ballpark. But if that's going to be your first offer and we're just nowhere near each other. Okay. Is Luke asking for $4 or $5 million? I can't imagine that he is. But also, it feels like maybe this isn't about Luke Evangelista. And I go back to what you just said. What is the focus here? Because it sure doesn't feel like the focus is get this young player back here and evaluate him as a long-term piece for this franchise. If you are unwilling to sign him for 2 years at $3 million, it doesn't feel like it's about Luke Evangelista. It feels like this is about something else entirely, and you are not paying attention. I cannot wait, friends. We cannot wait for the episode where we go, as of the time of this recording, Luke Evangelista has signed, because it can't continue to go on. And yet, if this is where the Predators' mindset is, if I'm Luke Evangelista, I'm working out in Siberia for a while longer.
I mean, now that you've gone out, not only have you not signed him, you've now gone out, picked up Tyson Jost off of waivers, which, I mean, no disrespect to Tyson Jost, but what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And if you are, let's just say, if you are trying to run it back and compete with the veteran group that you have right now, fine, whatever, that's what you're doing. But don't you want the option, if things are still going badly by the trade deadline, don't you want the option to be able to pivot mid-season and say, hey, let's call the kids up, we're going to give them meaningful minutes, and then, we tried, listen, it didn't work, okay, we're pivoting. Don't you want that option? Luke Evangelista is going to be a critical part of that, but it's so short-sighted. It is so narrow-minded, and it is so thinking like a coach, like, oh, immediate problem, fix it right now, and then go from there. And it's like, you're not looking far enough ahead. It doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense. You mentioned Tyson Jost. Well, he joined the Nashville Predators on the ice Thursday at practice. Coming up, we are going to tell you what we heard from Tyson Jost and from Andrew Brunette about that addition to the roster, and give you a couple more interesting of note updates from practice as well. Today's episode's brought to you by our great friends at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You're going to love how FanDuel gives you so many ways to play. You can build parlays, try player props, or follow the live lines during games. It makes watching those football games even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you are a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes that game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, Emma, we're going to put a pin in the Evangelista talk and circle back to it again at some point, I'm sure. But you mentioned the new addition off waivers, Tyson Jost. He joined the team on Thursday. Talk about like quick turnaround, picked up off waivers, jumped to the car, drove to Nashville, showed up at practice this morning. And kind of got some reps under his belt, got a chance to talk with the guys, meet with the guys at the end of the practice. They circled up. He kind of went to the center of the circle, got some stick taps as a welcome from the team. This is an interesting pickup. And I want to go ahead and play a clip. We got a chance to hear from Tyson Jost yesterday and from Andrew Brunette. I want you to hear what Jost had to say about his skill set, what he hopes to show here, and also Andrew Brunette's thoughts on him. We're going to circle back to that. This is what they had to say.
Well, I think he's obviously a former first-round pick. It's hard to pass up guys that with his skill set here organizationally to see a guy. So we're excited to have him. I've watched him, as an amateur player when I was upstairs and watch his path, and we believe he's still got more to give here.
I think that's the nice thing about my game is that I can be slotted in anywhere and can play all three positions. So flexible, and if you want me to do something, I'll do it. So whatever you want me to do, I'll answer when called upon, and I think that's just a nice thing. I can kind of slot in anywhere.
Is that something that you want to showcase a lot with your game, to the flexibility of it as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I had a great preseason so far with Carolina, and obviously they're just a little bit logjam with forwards there, but even the feedback I got back from them was great, and I felt really, really happy with my game. We played you guys there in preseason. I think it was at home in Carolina, so I was happy with my game there, and I just want to keep that rolling. And like I said, I think there's still another level I can get to, and I just want to keep building off that.
I thought it was so interesting what Andrew Brunette said. Well, he is a former first-round pick. When I heard him say that, I was like, oh.
So that tells me that's all you know about him, which is exactly right, because again, he seems like a lovely person.
Does, yes.
I don't get it. I mean, it makes more sense than like grabbing another defenseman, I guess. But like, what this tells me is that like, ooh, former first-round pick, must grab him. But also, it tells me that perhaps, obviously they're planning for life after Luke Evangelista because they have to operate like that now. But also it tells me maybe they're not that confident that, say, a Joachim Kimmel is ready yet. Because I think similar skill sets there.
Yes.
And again, Matthew Wood being injured, changes things as well. So to me, that's kind of what that says when people are like, if anyone's saying, what are we doing? He's 27 years old. He's blocking a spot. Well, maybe he's not. Maybe it's that they are not confident in Kimmel yet. That's pure speculation on my part. I genuinely don't know. But I mean, that's the only way that this particular move, this acquisition really makes sense to me.
Yeah. Very interesting, and of note, the place where Jost slotted in practice on Thursday was with Joachim Kimmel. So it was Stamkos, Svechkov, Jost, or Stamkos, Svechkov, Kimmel. And I agree with you. It's not necessarily that this is a player coming in to block a spot. This is maybe a player coming in to buy a young player some time. I just want to say this. I find it interesting, and then we'll come back and specifically talk about Jost, but just big picture, Emma. I just find it very interesting that Barry Trotz is big on some quote unquote reclamation projects. Tyson Jost, Justin Barron, Nick Hague. These are players that he has watched play and said, I think we can get more out of them, and I'm going to invest in that. But he's not doing that with homegrown Luke Evangelista. He's not willing to pay homegrown Luke Evangelista. I'm just
It's like he's going for the, he's like a girl with a bad boy. Like, I can fix him. I can change him. But meanwhile, the boy next door, your best friend, is in love with you and you can't see it. And you're going after the bad boy. That's how it works out in my head. I don't know if that analogy makes any sense, but it's like, that's what I hear is like, oh, but I can change him. I can fix him.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it's not anything against like Tyson Jost. I don't think he's a
No,
liability or
no.
anything. It's not like you went out and signed him to a massive long-term contract, but still, to me, like you said, this is a guy who buys young players some time.
Hmm. Yeah. I do like that he is flexible as far as center or wing. A lot of experience playing both, kind of goes back and forth on that. He also is a player who had kind of a limited pathway in Carolina in the forward sense of it, as some of the young players defensively here in Nashville. We've kind of talked about that in Nashville, that the pipeline was very full. They've got Aho and Seth Jarvis and Logan Stankoven and Svechnikov and of course Mark Jankowski. So it's not like the forwards in Carolina are, in the words of Cam Ward, we ass. Like, they've got a lot of great forwards there. So I don't think that Tyson Jost was on waivers because he was terrible. There just wasn't a pathway for him. So I do think it's an interesting piece to add. He has a lot of flexibility in what he's capable of doing. I just am like, does one thing say something about the other? Because it feels like a little bit of inconsistent messaging. But we're just going to let that sit because I can't make it make sense, Emma. I can't make it make sense.
Yeah. I guess we'll see, but it's one of those things. It's a low risk acquisition. Like,
Mhm.
it's probably going to be low reward, but I don't think it's going to hurt you.
Right.
It's kind of just a sure.
Yeah.
But I just really don't. Ugh, it's
It's a let's see what we can do with this player because his numbers weren't great, but I think with a different opportunity, they could be better for Tyson Jost. But we're just not having that same sentence coming out about Luke Evangelista. I don't know. Of note, also from training camp practice on Thursday, another little cycling back and forth. The fourth line, Cole Smith, centered by Michael McCarron, who returned to practice after the birth of his young baby boy, his brand new baby boy. So congratulations to the McCarron family on that. But then Ozzy Weisblatt and Zach LaRue were swapping in and out on that fourth line. How do you feel about that? Who would you give that start to? Because I'm not a big fan of Zach LaRue not being on the opening night lineup, but Ozzy Weisblatt has he has a skill set that's very fourth line-ish.
he does, and I like the idea of LaRue being on the third line with Svechkov, but and then you would put Weisblatt on the fourth line. But now it depends on a lot of things. Like, does
Yeah.
Kimmel make the roster? Does Jost make the roster? If so, where are you going to put them? And so it's kind of this, if you're asking, if it comes down to Kimmel or LaRue on the fourth line, I would rather have LaRue there. But I mean, if it's LaRue and Weisblatt, personally, I'd rather have Weisblatt there. I don't think LaRue is as much of a lock to make the opening night roster as a lot of people think he is. I'm not saying that he definitely won't, but I'm saying people just kind of assumed because he got called up last year and he never went back down. But I think, and he views it this way too. We talked to him
Yeah.
at the beginning of training camp that he's like, yeah, I understand. Like, I need to earn a spot on the roster. So I think at this point, it does make me feel a little better that they are looking at those two guys on the fourth line, because it's like, okay, you're not even considering putting Kimmel down there. Good.
Heavens no.
Because that would not make any sense. So I think that you've at least got that narrowed down. So like, obviously Ozzy's a bubble guy. But I think LaRue is a little bit of a bubble guy as well. And I said that when they made the big wave of roster cuts to send guys down to Milwaukee earlier in the week, I listed LaRue as a bubble guy, and people got very in their feelings about that. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying that means he's not making the roster. I'm just saying we have to understand that things are not given to these
No.
young players,
No.
especially in this organization. So I mean, quite honestly, I would say like Svechkov would be in the same boat. I think the one thing that's saving him is the fact that he plays center. So
Mhm.
I just think that, they are making these guys earn it. So
Yes.
that's why we're seeing a little bit of that kind of cycling in and out.
Mhm. We saw a little bit of cycling in and out with young players on the defense as well. Of course, we know that Nick Hague out 4 to 6 weeks. In practice on Thursday, Adam Wilsby, a lot of time with Roman Josi, but Tanner Mollendijk got reps with Roman Josi as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. Coming up, Nashville has one more chance to connect a few more dots in the preseason. This weekend, they are taking on Carolina. On Saturday, we're going to share what we're going to be watching for in that preseason game. And then we are going to tell you what we are looking forward to on this Look Forward Friday. All right, Emma, Preds taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, Tyson Jost's former friends, now frenemies. On Saturday, I believe it's a 3 p.m. puck drop, so a little bit of a different Saturday vibe, Saturday afternoon vibe. With this last preseason game, before the points really do matter, what are you watching for? What's going to be most important to see and learn from with this preseason game?
I know we just talked about all the young players, but just like we talked about on yesterday's show, I'm watching the veterans now.
Mhm.
Like at this point, whoever makes the roster, like of the young players. It's not like it's set in stone. We'll probably see guys cycle up and down from Milwaukee to Nashville throughout the year. Fine. We see that every year. But now that the roster is pretty darn pared down, you're going to see most of your veterans playing in this
Yes.
game. And I'm watching them. I
Mhm.
want this to look like a different team than we saw last year.
Yeah.
I want to see chemistry. I want to see guys like knowing where each other is going to be and when at any given time. I want to see smooth passing. I want to see, taking care of the puck. I don't want to see messy, sloppy turnovers. And I want to see him stay out of, as you called it, the timeout booth.
The timeout booth. There is no need to go there.
No.
There's nothing there for you. Yeah, this needs to look like a regular season game. And I know that there are still roster decisions being made with these young players and you're still trying to nail down your lines, but you are 100% right. This needs to look like a regular season game for the veterans. And I'm not even so much concerned about the final score, although I'd love to see some goals get scored by the veterans. But this needs to look like regular season performances from the veterans. And I would feel also super great if the young players looked pretty good, but if they kind of falter, that the veterans can kind of cover for that because that's what the season's going to be like. So I agree with you. I think as fun as it's going to be to see Brady Martin playing with, I'm going to guess, Forsberg and O'Reilly. That's what we've seen in practice so far, but can't guarantee that. And see, is Kimmel in? Is Kimmel out? All of this. It is really going to be about the veterans because they're the ones, bottom line, that have the most to prove. And it's gonna be a really important game. It feels a little weird. We've had a long stretch without a preseason game. They're gonna play on Saturday, and then it's just practice until you're ready to drop the puck for games that count on Thursday. So this is gonna be an important 3 periods of hockey for the Predators. They got to come away with some things they know for sure, going into this final stretch before the regular season. Emma, there is plenty to be looking forward to this game on Saturday. Of course, the Nashville Predators playing Carolina Hurricanes, but you and I sometimes like to share some other things that we are looking forward to on our Friday. So what are you looking forward to on this Friday?
Well, I actually will not be at the preseason game on Saturday because I'm going to a concert and that I'm very excited about. So I have had the tickets for months. I'm going with some of my good friends. It's one of my favorite groups. I've seen them before. They're really good. They're going to be here in Nashville, so I'm going to a concert. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Are you a big concert person? Do you do a lot of
I'm
concerts?
I'm really not. I not that I dislike them, but it's like I've got to really like an artist for me to go to a concert. Like, I don't know. It's not something that I know people who are like different show every weekend,
Yes.
and especially in a town like Nashville. But
Mhm.
no, I'm like, it's just not usually my jam. So that's why this is like a lot of people in Nashville are probably like, okay, cool, you're going to a concert. That's like a Tuesday for me. But for me, it's exciting. So I am looking forward to that.
What's the best concert you've ever seen?
Lady Gaga in Vegas.
Really? Oh, well, I mean, that's just
She
perfection.
I went to when she had a residency in Las Vegas,
Mhm.
at the MGM, and I went, and it was a very, like, intimate venue. It was very small for the, caliber of act that
Mhm.
she is, and I was in the pit, and so I was, like, very close to her. Like, I could make eye contact with her, and I am a big Lady Gaga fan, so that was like a bucket list thing for me, and she was amazing as advertised, like
Mhm.
everything about it, just mwah, perfect. So
Oh my
that's the
gosh.
best concert I've been to.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard to top. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big concert person. I've been to 3 in my entire life. Kathy Mattea, Garth Brooks, and Barry Manilow. And I have to tell you, once you have seen Garth Brooks and Barry Manilow, it just feels like it's all downhill from there. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for you. That's gonna be so fun. You're so fun. They
See,
usually start too late for me.
the fact that that I'm this excited about this one concert shows how not fun I am. And if it makes you feel any better, I got a email from the venue
Mhm.
yesterday saying that there was a time change, that the start time of the show had moved up half an hour, and I got so excited.
Let's
I'm
go.
like, I can be in bed early.
Yes.
So I'm really not that fun, but I am very much looking forward to this.
Well,
So
my look forward Friday thing actually is going to push me past my bedtime, but it is going to be so worth it for me. And mine is actually a little bit hockey related. It's also Penn State related. So go with me on this journey, friends. Super excited tonight. The NHL Network is broadcasting the Arizona State men's hockey game against the Penn State men's hockey game. Now, it is being advertised and it is being broadcast because of Gavin McKenna. But friends, let's talk about what you really want to watch, and that is Aiden Fink. I am so excited about this. It does have, I think it's a 9 p.m. tonight Central Time. So, Anne's going to be doing her like pregame nap as I do on game days.
right.
But then Saturday, they play, I believe it's at 7 p.m. Central Time. Double check me if you want to watch this. They're going to have the second game of the weekend. So I'm going to get to see Aiden Fink play hockey twice. And just anything Penn State men's hockey, I always love Penn State hockey. So yeah, we're going to be
A little
so
bit,
fun this weekend.
little bit better than Penn State football right now. Sorry, but I
So
am
bad last
very
weekend.
I'm excited for Aiden Fink as well. The Hobie Baker nominee, Aiden Fink from
Come
last
on.
year.
Come
So
on.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be
Yep.
good. Good for
Love.
us being fun, staying up late. I love
Look
that for us.
Look at us. It's like we are prepping for the regular season when we don't roll out of Bridgestone Arena till like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night and zombie our way home. But don't worry, friends. We're getting ready. We're going to be ready when the season kicks off next week. Next week, you all. Next week. It's the week for hockey. And of course, Emma and I are going to be here getting you ready with all the last minute information you need to know, like maybe Luke Evangelista signing a contract and joining the team. I don't know. But if that happens, we will, of course, let you know. On Monday's show, we are going to break down everything we saw on Saturday in this final preseason matchup for the Nashville Predators and tell you what we think opening night could look like. So make sure you tune in again on Monday next week as we break down more Nashville Predators news. Before we wrap up our week of shows, Emma, one more time, let everyone know where they can find you and your work.
You can find me on social media at Emma_Lingan. You can find my work at the Hockey News, and you can find me shotgunning a Celsius and popping some ibuprofen for my big night out on Saturday.
I love that.
Because
You can-
this is what it's like to be 30 and up. It's
30
it's a
and concert going.
See, it's all about balance.
It's all about balance. You can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio. You can find me napping and then snacking and then cheering for Aiden Fink and my Penn State Saquon Barkley jersey, because I don't have a hockey jersey from there yet, but we're going to work on that. So yeah, that's going to be us this weekend. We hope you all have something fabulous to look forward to as well this weekend. That's going to do it for our week of shows here at the Locked On Predators podcast. We thank you again so much for making us your first listen of the day. We hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.